Madden 22 Run and Shoot Team Rankings. Number 32, the Cincinnati Bengals. Unfortunately, they did not have any players that happened to rank on their position rankings. The main player to watch here is Ja'Marr Chase and how he progresses throughout the Madden season. Number 31, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Najee Harris may develop into a player that could be a useful superback, but he didn't meet the thresholds required as of right now. The player that is listed here is our number 16 wide receiver, Deontay Johnson. Deontay has a good mix of skills here with 91 speed, 92 acceleration and agility, and a 90 change of direction. Also above 80 at pretty much all the receiving skills that are important. At 5'10", 181, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he can get the job done. And at 25, he still has plenty of life for franchise players. Number 30, the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons have one wide receiver on this list. If this had been a few months ago, it would have had two. But as of right now, they have Calvin Ridley, who at number 12 is just dynamic. 93 speed, 93 acceleration, 95 agility, 92 change of direction, 85 jump. He's got it all. 89 catch, 85 spec, 86 release, and a 90 deep route running. This guy is just fire. Unfortunately, he is the only player that's really a good fit for the run and shoot on the Falcons. Number 29, the Minnesota Vikings. This isn't that surprising. Justin Jefferson is a beast. He's ranked number 11 on this list, and he's the only player that's really going to be an ideal fit. Dalvin Cook could be an okay superback. He's a good runner. He's just not quite there when it comes to the pass blocking. That's not something they really ask him to do normally in Minnesota, but Captain Kirk is not going to get the job done there, neither is Mond. As far as Jefferson goes, the things that really stand out with him is that 95 change of direction. He's already at the high 80s or the low 90s at pretty much all the receiving attributes. He's 22 years old, so for CFM guys that are going to be playing in a franchise, he's definitely a player to target for that outside wide receiver role because he's got so much going for him at such a young age. Number 28, the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers have two wide receivers on this list, and they both are pretty good as outside guys. Unfortunately, the rest of the roster still isn't quite there. They've been doing a lot of good things with the roster. They have obviously one of the better receiving backs in the league, and I really went back and forth on if Christian McCaffrey should count as a super back. I think he could do a lot of the things that Barry Sanders did back in Detroit. He's definitely an elite player in that way. You just need a guy that's a little bit better as a blocker. Wide receiver number 10 here, Robby Anderson. He is blazing fast, 95 speed, 92 acceleration. That 84 agility will not hurt you too bad. Same with the change of direction, because he's going to be more your deep threat at that 6'3", real skinny, 190. He's got high-end receiving abilities. He's going to be great for outside fades and even to some degree some of those switch routes. He's not going to be as fluid as some of the other guys higher up than him on the list. DJ Moore is going to be kind of the other end of that. He's not quite as fast as Robbie. He's not quite as tall, but he's got a lot more fluidity to him. He's going to be able to get in and out of some of those cuts a little bit better. He's also a very talented receiver with that 94 jump especially. He's going to be a very special receiver. And at only 24, he's got so much room to grow for the CFM guys. Definitely a guy you can build around. Number 27, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Dak just barely didn't make the cut here because he has an 89 throw power. If you don't want to hold that against him, you could definitely rank the Cowboys higher than this. But I had clear thresholds in place at certain ratings that I didn't want to break just because I really like a guy and I really like Dak Prescott. But I couldn't include him in that list, and so I can't add him into counting here for the team. Similar here when it comes also to Amari Cooper not making the list. When it comes to superbacks, though, we do have Ezekiel Elliott, who is a superback. He's got just about it all. He's got a good pass block. 60 pass block is really good for a running back. Just to give you context, most of these guys that are on that Superback list are going to be above a 60 pass block. 68 catch is okay, not anything special, but he's got 87 truck, 86 break tackle. He's going to be able to really fall forward when he engages, plus 88 stiff arm if you like hitting that stiff arm button. Sewo, very interesting player. He's kind of a fullback, halfback, hybrid. He wears that number 45. He's not the fastest guy. Most people are going to overlook him. For CFM guys, this is a guy to target for a trade. He is really special. That 83 truck, 81 break tackle, like I said. He's got 240 pounds. He's a big, hefty guy. 6'3". Oh, so good. And he's almost as good as Zeke and a lot of those other stats. CeeDee Lamb, number 14. He's not going to be a burner on the outside, but he's just a solid all-around back. I don't know if any of you watched him in Oklahoma. So great there. 6'2", 189. He's that a little bit of height there, so you can get up there for those jump balls, but he's not, some big bulking guy that's going to be real slow either. He's a really good outside receiver. And Michael Gallup, the number 19 wide receiver. Again, just another guy that's really solid across the board. 93 jump. He can get up there for some of those jump balls, especially he's 6'1". There's nothing wrong with the receiver just being really, really good, but not elite. Number 26, the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are really good. Obviously, Tannehill is another quarterback that's in that. He's kind of good, but he's not quite there to make my list. The bigger problem is they don't really have any slot backs. They had one last year that now he's on the Lions, and Khalif Raymond. They have one guy that's kind of fast, but he's just not elite fast. But what they do have is the number one super back, Derrick Henry. 92 speed, 90 truck, 95 break tackle. He's 6'3", 247, 99 stiff arm. He checks every box. He's the most dominant running back. And that's not even talking about abilities. This is just talking about ratings and size. You add in the abilities and it's just next level. There isn't a better super back in the game. Wide receivers, though, you have Julio Jones. He's on the back end of his career, so not great for the CFM guys long term. But for right now, for head-to-head, he is very good on the outside, especially on switch, especially on like outside fades, choice routes, whatever you want to put him on, he's going to be really good. And then on the flip side, you have the young one, A.J. Brown, another really, really solid receiver, only 24. He's got some size to him. He's kind of built like a running back, but he can catch. And that 88 release is just very nice. Number 25, the New England Patriots. The Patriots are here with Cam Newton being the quarterback that counts. I wish Mac Jones would have had a higher throw power. I would have loved to have included him on this list. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in this rookie class in real life, but in Madden they gave him, I think, an 85 throw power, which just is unusable. Cam, however, 83 speed. He's got obviously all of the movement attributes you would want. 91 throw power is really nice. Above 80 in everything passing wise. 80 deep accuracy is kind of really what you want as a baseline. If you don't have that and you're in a franchise, then that's what you want to be developing up towards. That 80 threshold seems to be where quarterbacks go from just throwing wild passes left and right down the field to really being able to consistently hit deep targets, which is what you need. Nelson Agholor, new receiver for them. He's been on the Eagles, he's been on the Raiders. He's got a good mix of speed there, nothing too flashy, but then just really solid across the board. He's not super high up the list because he only has a 78 release and he's on the lower 80s in some of those receiving attributes. Number 24, the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are here for one reason and one reason only, and he's the number one pick, Trevor Lawrence. Coming in at quarterback number 14, he's got good speed. He's got 91 throw power. He's already over that 80 threshold of deep accuracy. He can throw it on the run. He can throw it short, medium, deep. He can throw under pressure. He has just got it all. 82 break sack there as well. He's only 21, prototypical size, 6'6", 215. He's just about got it all. Number 23, the LA Chargers. Again, this is going to be kind of similar. They're ranked 1 point higher because they have the quarterback that was rated 1 grade higher, and that is Justin Herbert, last year's Rookie of the Year. Herbert's got, again, very similar kind of speed. He's got 93 throw power, which is a bit better. He does have a kind of a different kind of throw animation, so that may be a downside. He's also 6'6". He's a little bulkier at 236, also over that 80 threshold. He does not have as high of a break sack, though. So if you don't have the best O-line, he is probably not better than Lawrence. Otherwise, he is. Number 22, the San Francisco 49ers. Another team that really has a lot of the pieces, but is really just lacking those slot receivers, or the slot backs, as a lot of the run and shoot teams like to call them. You need some of those small, shifty, speedy guys for those slots. And they don't have that. But they just have everything else. So this would be a good team if you did have a franchise going, or CFM. You might want to take this team and then trade for some really good slots. When talking about the Niners, it really all begins with quarterback Trey Lance, the rookie from North Dakota State, who barely played in college but was still taken 3rd overall. 6'4", 224, 21 years old, really fast, 91 throw power. He is not quite over that 80 threshold yet, so that does make him a worst option if you're just trying to pick him up in head-to-head. But once he starts playing in the regular season, I'm sure that deep accuracy number will go up. Wayne Gallman Jr., a really decent value super back. He's got all the attributes, but in a smaller frame, and he's 26. So maybe not the best guy ever, but there's other running backs on that team that are capable of handling some of the other duties as well. He would be your primary back, but you could use some of the other backs they have for other situations. But when you need a receiver who can juke, you call on Brandon Ayuk, number 26 on our list. He's got a kind of an average frame there at 6 foot, 200, 91, 92, 91, just kind of vanilla. But he is very solid and has a lot of room there to develop. Again, this is a good team to take for a franchise, because that 78 release, 77 deep route running, all could be really improved on. And both these guys are just such great jump ball. They're good after the catch. They can truck. They can stiff arm. Deebo Samuel, I have it number 28, and it's no knock on him. He's also really great. He's got good speed. He needs to develop a little bit more. And the longer he and Ayuk can develop with Trey Lance, it's going to be really special. You just need some slot backs to go with them. Number 21, the New Orleans Saints. Saints are a team that are in a very weird place as a roster. They have a lot of talented pieces, but a lot of slow pieces. They got some really good running backs, but really just big, lumbering Michael Thomas at wide receiver, and old Brandon Cooks at tight end. I mean, they're a roster that's in kind of transition. They don't know who their quarterback is, really. The quarterback I have here, though, is Jameis Winston. He's number 15th on my list. This is a team, if you really want a long-term rebuild, might be a good team to start with. They have a lot of decent pieces around the roster, but the salary cap situation is just not great. There's not a ton great here, but the pieces they do have can be serviceable, especially in the backfield. Jameis is he's Jameis at this point. Nothing special. Alvin Kamara, though, is very good. He's the 5th ranked super back on my list. He's got a 76 catch while also having 94 break tackle, 86 truck, 77 strength, 94 acceleration. He's got a lot going for him, and he can still pass block as good as almost anybody. And then you also have Latavius Murray in the backfield as well, who he's got his own skill set that's very good, meeting a lot of those same kind of thresholds, and a little bit of a beefier, bigger build at 6'3", 230. Not quite as athletic, but they're a good 1-2 punch together. Number 20, the New York Jets. They have one quarterback and two wideouts on this list, but no superbacks and no slots. Sorry, Kia. Quarterback number 10, Zach Wilson, is very special. 94 throw power. I think he's the best of all the rookies. He also already has an 82 deep accuracy, meaning you can use him day one and head-to-head, and he's going to be really good in the run and shoot. He's also got that 83 speed, 88 acceleration. He can do any of your half roll or all the way roll out. He can scramble drill, whatever you need him to do. He's got my 23rd ranked wide receiver, Corey Davis, out wide. He's like a baby DeAndre Hopkins is what I've described him as in the past. He hasn't quite developed fully into that, but he's got a lot of those kind of attributes. He's a very solid receiver that doesn't rely on physicality in terms of speed, but more physicality in terms of he might truck you. Then you also have Keelan Cole Sr., who was formerly on the Jaguars. He's another guy that's just really solid across the board, but not special. He's 28, so he's not going to be the best guy for your franchise, but he's a really good role player. Number 19, the Green Bay Packers. The Packers have two quarterbacks that made the list, so even if one of them retires in your franchise, you got a long-term option. They also have a really, really good superback that I love, and they got two really good outside wideouts. Where they really lack, though, is the slot. And that's going to be where, if you do take over this team for a CFM, you're going to want to focus on getting some slots in the draft or in trades. Let's look at Aaron Rodgers. We all know Aaron is amazing. 94 throw power, 96 short, 90 medium, 95 deep. He's got gunslinger. He's one of the best in terms of abilities and in ratings. The only downside with him, of course, is he's 37. He's on the back end of his career, but he should still last a few years in a franchise before you have to replace him. But when you do, you already have Jordan Love, who could be a trade asset in a franchise or just a guy you develop up. He's already got that 80 threshold, and he's got a medium kind of sized arm and that 90 throw power. That is enough arm to get the job done, and he's athletic. Definitely Rodgers is the guy you would start here in any situation, though. At superback, I do have A.J. Dillon as my third ranked superback, and that comes down to numerous factors. For one, I did a lot of testing on does size matter at running backs when it comes to how much you truck, how much you can run over a guy or break a tackle, and it absolutely did make a difference. Even a guy with no attributes at all in trucking, strength, and block shed, but is very large, has a higher win rate in those kind of interactions than a guy that has a very low one. So that was very important, and he's one of the biggest running backs that's actually usable and not just, a lumbering fullback. Where the ratings really matter is what kind of animations you get when you do break those tackles. And if you look at his other ratings, he really has a lot going for him. He's really fast. For a guy his size, 88 speed is pretty good. 87 truck, 83 break tackle. You really want both those over 80, and he has that. He's got the 60 pass block, 85 stiff, and still a 63 catch, which is all right with an 80 strength. He's a big, bruising superback. Wide receiver number 3, Davante Adams. He's good at everything. He's 90s across the board. So, yeah, he's really good on the outside. Those 99s at release and catch, just next level. And then we have MVS, who is kind of the other end of that whole spectrum. He's got the 93 speed that's a little bit better and really nice to make him a nice deep threat, but he just doesn't have the jump ball. He's 76 on the release, 79 on the catch. Definitely has some areas where he could be better, but that 80 deep route running is really solid and a good place to kind of build him up. But the problem is he's already 26. At 6'4", that does help. Number 18, the Seattle Seahawks. Now, they obviously have two really good outside receivers, and they have one of the best quarterbacks in the game. Again, with this team, you're going to see this a lot with teams that are more run first. They don't really have a lot of speedy slots. They got really interesting outside receivers because they use a lot of two wide receiver sets. So they don't really have the depth at receiver that you would like. But they do have Russell Wilson, who really is fantastic. 92 throw power. He's got all the athleticism in the world. 91 deep, 94 at short and medium, and at throw under pressure. 96 on the run, 94 break sack. His age is fine. His size is fine. Everything is fine about Russell Wilson. He's a really great quarterback. But then again, you probably didn't need me to tell you that. Then we have our number 5 wide receiver, DK Metcalf, one of the best young receivers in the league, 6'3", 235. The guy is just built big. He's 95 speed, 93 acceleration, 97 jump. I mean, he's almost like having a young Randy Moss. Really across the board, 95 spec catch, 89 release, 84 deep. He is just fantastic. Then you have Tyler Lockett, who's a little bit smaller and shiftier, and he's a really good complement to DK. Both of them on the outside is really fantastic. I wish his release was a little higher, but I really have no complaints about Tyler Lockett. Could put him in the slot. He's just not quite as fast as I would like for my slot backs. Number 17, the Houston Texans. Now this one, we'll see what happens with Watson, if he even stays in the game throughout the year, depending on legal issues. I'm not going to get into that here, but he does show up on the list as our 5th-ranked quarterback, which does put the Texans at this place. If he does leave the game later on in the season, as if he gets suspended or something, then obviously this team would not be ranked nearly as high. But, I mean, just looking at him, he's pretty special, and he should probably be even better than this in the game. 93 throw power, 87 deep accuracy. He's just really good, athletic. 98 break sack is just elite. He's 25. He's got a great build. The guy is just about the perfect quarterback you could want, other than maybe just having a more elite throw power or a more elite accuracy. Superback number 8, Mark Ingram, has come over from the Ravens after, of course, years with the Saints. He is a very, very nice superback, not elite, but very solid, with a smaller build, but really good ratings, great pass blocker, good hands, has kind of a good mix of attributes. He's not anything to write home about, but he'll get the job done for you. And then we have Brandon Cooks, who's kind of entering the middle part of his career, but he is still very special. Again, he's another guy like Tyler Lockett a minute ago. You could put him in the slot. I don't think he's quite got that elite speed and quickness I like for that. He is still very good, though, and that 80 release is very useful on the outside. That 98 change of direction may make it worth it for you to put him in the slot if you need to. He's just not really up to the thresholds I set. Number 16, the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, the Bills are here because they have the number 2 quarterback and the number 1 wide receiver, and they got the number 12 superback there as well. The problem is, again, they don't have the slot backs. The slot backs they have are good, and they actually have a pedigree and a history in the run and shoot. That meaning Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders were both fantastic receivers at SMU under Julio Jones in the run and shoot. Looking at Josh Allen, obviously 99 throw power is just ridiculous. He's got well over an 80 for his deep accuracy, 94 throw on the run, 92 break sack. He's 88 acceleration, 6'5", 237. He checks just about all of the boxes. Then we have our number 12 superback, Zack Moss, who very solid, nothing too special. Again, an undersized guy, but he can pass block, he can truck, he's pretty strong, he's not super fast, but he's fast enough, and he's got okay hands. He is a good enough superback that we're going to be okay. And then we have our number 1 wideout. We're talking about Stefon Diggs. Now, Stefon is just, I was surprised when he came in at number 1 when I did all my calculations, but looking it over, it really makes sense. He's a little faster and a little quicker than the other guys I had near the top, and he's also all 90s across the board, just like Davante Adams and the number 2 guy, who we haven't gotten to yet on this recap. He's 6 foot, 191. That's an okay size. He's not going to necessarily out-jump anyone, but that 91 jumping does help him. Number 15, the New York Football Giants. The Giants have 2 wide receivers out wide and 1 slot back that are really good. Now you might be saying, hold on, they don't have a super back? They got Saquon Barkley. His initials are SB. He should be a SB. And that's a fair point. He didn't quite meet the thresholds I had. I think it was maybe pass blocking he was too short on. So that's what kept him off the list. But he definitely could qualify as a super back. But where this roster is really special isn't the quarterback position, because it's not. It's his wide receiver number 17 is where we're going to start with Darius Slayton. 93 speed, 92 acceleration, 93 jump. He's only got that 78 release. It's still fine, though. 83 deep route running. He's just a really solid young receiver with some good outside speed that can really run that fade ball really well on the outside for you. Then you also have Kenny Golladay coming over from the Lions, who is going to be more of that possession guy. So I like him more as the X, where Slayton more as the Z. With Golladay, he is just, he's going to give you those elite hands, spec catch, 6'4". He's going to jump up, 93 jumping, and he's going to get you those contested catches. With that 84 release, he's going to beat guys down the field, out of the press, and he's just going to be able to jump up and make some big plays. Now, where they got something special is they picked up John Ross. Now, in real life, I don't know if John Ross is going to pan out, but in Madden, he is really good. 96 speed, 95 acceleration. This is the first slot back I think that's actually made it onto this list, because I really value slot backs that highly in this offense. If you don't have a slot back, you don't really have a chance. So they have one. He's definitely a project, 25 years old, and he's 70s across the board as a receiver, but that speed is special. Number 14, the Detroit Lions. Now, this team does not have Matt Stafford anymore, and Jared Goff isn't special. They don't have Kerryon Johnson anymore. They still got a super back, and they don't have Kenny Golladay anymore, but they still do have one wideout. They also picked up a really nice slot back. This team is rebuilding, but this could be a really fun team to take over and try and recreate the old Silver Streak offense from their late 80s. Superback 14, this is, I think, the last ranked superback I had, is Jamaal Williams. He's solid. He's, again, another guy that's a little bit on the undersized side, but he kind of checks all the boxes as far as our thresholds. 70 catch is pretty good for especially a guy who's more or less a power back. Wide receiver number 25, they picked up Tyrell Williams. He's kind of been bouncing around. He was on the Chargers, then he was a Raider, now he's a Lion. He's got solid 90s across the board physically, 93 jump. He's 6'4". He's kind of like Kenny Golladay in a lot of ways, just not quite as elite. You'll notice he has good 80s across the board. He's 79 release is the biggest downside, and he's 29. So for franchise, he's not really a guy you can build into the future. But they do have Khalif Raymond, who was my favorite player outside of Derrick Henry on the Titans last couple years, really. But now he's a Lion. He's going to be a lot of fun to use. He's got 94 speed, and the ratings don't look too special there. You're like, what? Only 71 short route running, 76 deep. I promise you, if you play with him in game, he is lightning in a bottle. He's a lot of fun. Number 13, the Denver Broncos. The Broncos don't have the quarterback situation figured out, although Drew Lock, I guess, is the best option. They don't have a super back necessarily, although Melvin Ingram can definitely fill that role. He can have the power. He just, I think, didn't quite meet the pass blocking threshold I had. But where they are special is their wide receiver room, where they have 2 really good outside guys, again, kind of like the Giants, and they do have a really good slot back. So they have Jerry Jeudy. He's coming off his rookie campaign. I mean, he's athletic. He's a good route runner. We all know that about him. He's definitely a guy that you can develop. He's not quite as polished as a lot of the other outside guys that have been on this list, but his age still makes him very valuable for franchise. Then we also have Tim Patrick. He's the 31st ranked wide receiver. You'll notice that he has a 90 speed, 92 acceleration, and he's a pretty good all-around receiver, especially that 92 catching is really, really nice. especially for a guy that's 6'4". So if you're one of those run and shoot guys that likes having big towers on the outside, this is maybe a guy to pick up, especially in franchise. You might be able to trade for him more easily than some other guys. But KJ Hamler is really special on this roster. I really like him. He's slot back number 11 for me. 94 speed, 95 acceleration, 93 agility, 90 change of direction. He's just really quick. Young, only 22, 5'9", 178. The slot backs, really the smaller and the faster, the better. So this guy is a really good fit for that. Number 12, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles don't have the quarterback situation figured out. I'm not going to pretend that they do. But Jalen Hurts is pretty good. He'll get you through for a little bit. At least as a runner, you can do some things with him. This is definitely a team that's ranked here more for franchise, because this is a team you could kind of build up. They have a couple nice pieces, but they're really here because they happen to have a good superback and a good slot. The superback is of course Kerryon Johnson. He didn't really work out for whatever reason in the Lions. I kind of blame Matt Patricia for that, but if you look at his ratings, 70 pass block, he's got good power, he's got an 80 strength, 84 truck, 83 break tackle, 84 stiff arm, and he's just a good all-around back. And then, of course, at the slot back position, they have Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who I had a lot of fun with last year, his rookie campaign. He definitely leaves some things to be desired as a slot back, which is why he's only ranked 18th. But his 94 speed makes him a player that you can really develop in the slot. He's already got an 80 catch and 78 catch in traffic, so his hands are there. The route running is bad, but he's a player you can really develop up pretty quickly. And he's got a really good physical makeup to start out, especially for a guy that's 6 foot. Number 11, the Indianapolis Colts. Now, this is a little misleading. They have 2 quarterbacks on here, but really, I only really like one of them. But we'll get into that in a second. They also have 1 wide out, and they have 1 slot back. I like both of those guys a lot, so let's dig in. Quarterback 19 is Carson Wentz, who's coming off the worst year of his career. 90 throw power. He meets that threshold I set, and he's in the upper 70s and 80s at his accuracies. He's not really elite or special anywhere. I mean, he's quick, I guess. He's got an 87 break sack and 85 throw on the run, but he's just kind of okay, which is why he's quarterback. He is 6'5", 237, if you care about size. Who I like better, who still has size, is Jacob Eason. He has a lot more potential in my eyes with that 92 throw power, which can still do a lot. He is more of a project guy. That 73 deep accuracy means he will be probably sailing a quarter of all of the deep passes he throws. So this is a guy that's really good for a franchise where you can develop up that accuracy a lot easier than you can develop up throw power. Receiver, they have T.Y. Hilton, who he's starting to regress a little. He's 31. He's not quite the guy he was years ago. He's still a very capable outside receiver, though. He's got an 81 release. He's got solid 80s across the board at all those receiving attributes. And he's still in the lower 90s for his speed and acceleration. He can really do just about whatever you need him to. The up-and-comer, though, was their slot back, and that is our 16th ranked slot back, Paris Campbell, who's switched over to the number 1. You'll notice a lot of these slot backs are now wearing number 1. That's kind of a unwritten rule of, is a guy a slot back or not? Well, does he wear number 1? That's going to be kind of the inside joke. He's got a 94 speed. I think it used to be 95, so they've toned that down a little bit coming off his injury last year. But 93 acceleration. He's still really, really fast. He's a lot more developed than a guy like Marquez Valdes-Scantling was a few minutes ago. Number 10, the LA Rams. Now, the Rams have 1 quarterback, and it is not Jared Goff, and they have 1 slot back. But I really feel like it should have been 2, and I'm hoping by end of the year it will be. They left out Tutu Atwell for whatever reason. When they put him in the game, they really nuked him. He was electrifying in college. Tutu Atwell is undersized, but he would be a great slot back, and he should be in the high 90s in speed and acceleration. He just was robbed. But quarterback number 11 is number 9, Matthew Stafford. 95 throw power, 85 deep accuracy. This guy's going to just throw lasers all over the field. He's not as athletic as some of those other guys. He's only in the 70s for his speed and acceleration. So that's why he's only 11. But he's a really, really special quarterback. Unfortunately, he has the distinction of being the guy that killed the run and shoot at Hawaii. He was in that game all those years ago in college against the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors when they were undefeated, and he was the one that defeated them. They also have number 1, Deshaun Jackson, as their slot back. He's number 17 for me, largely because of his age, not his ratings. He's still a really good player, and for head-to-head, I might have rated him maybe 9th, but that age for franchise guys, I tried to weigh a little bit of both of that in these calculations. At 34, he's just older. Number 9, the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders are good because they got a quarterback, they got a wideout, and they got a slot back. It'd be better if they had, a super back, 2 wide receivers, 2 slot backs, but they're really good. They also have the best uniforms in the game, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, Derek Carr is not fantastic. We're going to look at him in a second, but you'll notice he's ranked 17th. They have the 24th wideout, but they have the number 3 slot back. Let's look at it. Derek Carr, he's got 80s across the board for his athleticism. He's got a 91 throw power, 93 short, 84 medium, and 85 deep accuracy, 88 throw under pressure. His break sack is really bad. I don't know why it's a 41. They hate him. But I guess that's why he's so timid about pressure. That's Madden's way of indicating that, I guess. But an 83 throw on the run is really good. He's 30, so he's not too old for franchise either. John Brown, they now have on the outside. He's rated 24 here, but he's still a guy that has a lot of upside. He's definitely on the back end of his career. His career didn't really quite go where he thought it would, but if you look at his numbers there, he's very solid from top to bottom. And as we've said earlier in this list, especially on the outside, having a guy that's really solid, it may not be sexy, but it's very reliable. He's a guy that you could put, especially as a Z, and he could just catch balls all day. But here's where it's really special is Henry Ruggs III, who is just lightning. 98 speed, 97 acceleration, 87 agility. This guy is just lightning fast. 94 jump. He can just about do it all. He's got 85 deep route running, so this guy is just made to go deep. And this is surprising coming off of his rookie campaign where he was just kind of eh. Here, he is really good. Number 8, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So there's a quarterback there, and he's ranked 12. I wonder what his number is. They got 2 wideouts and 1 slot back on this list. The guy that didn't make the list was Mike Evans, and it was just the physical ratings. He, I think, had an 89 speed instead of a 90, and I had that as a firm cap. Honestly, Evans could slot in there, and you could move AB into the slot next to Scotty Miller, and it would be fantastic. This is one of the better teams to use. Tom Brady is old, so it's going to kind of brought the team down a little bit because of that, and it brought down his rating as well. I think Tom would be rated a lot higher otherwise. For franchise, you have a very short timer on him. The athleticism's horrible, 91 throw power and high 90s accuracy. He's Tom Brady. I think at this point we all know who Tom Brady is and how amazing he is. He's the GOAT. From now on until eternity, 12 isn't Terry Bradshaw, it's Tom Brady. Antonio Brown is number 8 on this list. It's impressive that he's still rated so high. And a lot of that has to do with how he played last year, but he's been one of the best receivers in the league for years. This, I think, is a pretty good representation of him. He's in the high 90s for catching. He's just a very good technical receiver. Then we have Chris Godwin. If we were to put Evans at X, I would put Godwin at Z. He's another guy that's just really solid from top to bottom. He's got 90s hands. He's going to just be able to catch most things you throw his way. And then we have Scotty Miller, who is slot back number 10. 94 speed, 93 acceleration, 92 change of direction. He is just really, really nice. And he's a guy that you could really develop up in a franchise. Number 7, the Washington Football Team. Now, they don't have a quarterback, a super back, or a wide receiver. How are they ranked 7th? Well, because they have 2 slot backs that are amazing. And slot backs, like I said, are probably the most important position. When you're throwing in this offense, you're going to notice that routinely your slot backs are both going to get about 10 catches a game, or at least 10 targets a game. And that may be more, it may be less, depending on how many minutes you're playing per quarter. But that makes that position so valuable. So they have Curtis Samuel, who's number 6, 95 speed, 93 acceleration, all 80s at route running and catching and jumping. I mean, he's very, very, very good. And then to complement him, you have Terry McLaurin, number 7. So they got both of them on the same team. 94 speed, 92 acceleration, 95 catch, 87 route running at all of them. I mean, both these guys side by side are just a scary, scary tandem. Number 6, the Chicago Bears. Now the Bears have a quarterback. He wears number 1, and he's going to be on this list. We'll get to him in a second. It's not Andy Dalton. They also have a super back, and they also have a slot back. Then when you have all those, you're going to be rated pretty high on this list, and the Bears are. They also have one of the longest and proudest histories in this league, numerous world championships, and this is a team that I think you could take to a Madden championship this year. Justin Fields, my favorite quarterback in this year's draft, 90, 90, 90, 88, 92 throw power. Woo! 22 years old, great build. He's got all 80s at all of our important passing ratings, from break sack, throw on the run, 83 deep accuracy. He is ready to go. David Montgomery, really solid back as well. 73 catching, 62 pass blocking, 83 truck, 87 break tackle. He's not the fastest guy, but again, you don't need to have the fastest guy in this offense. You're running downhill. We're not trying to run speed sweeps around the corner. We're looking to run downhill and run over a linebacker. Or we're looking for a guy that can sit in the pocket and block the first guy to get through and save the quarterback a couple seconds. And he can do it. Marquise Goodwin, I mean, this guy was an Olympian. He is really fast, 96 speed, 96 acceleration. He's still got a lot of it. He is aging out, but that's why he's number 15 on this list. But he is still a very, very good slot weapon. Now, Allen Robinson didn't make the list. You could definitely put him at X. You'd be okay. You really need to find another slot back, though. Is going to be the bigger struggle with this team. And, of course, Cordarrelle Patterson didn't make the list, but I would definitely use him in some empty sets. Number 5, the Baltimore Ravens. This is the first team that really has checked all 4 position boxes. And so this top 5 is going to really be where the teams that are who you should use in head-to-head. These are going to be the best teams to take in a CFM. These are your first choice teams, and the Ravens are definitely on that list. You'll notice that the number 4 slot back, number 7 quarterback. Let's look at it. Lamar Jackson, he's number 7 on my list. He's probably number 1 on a lot of people's because he's got that 96 speed, 96 acceleration, 95 agility. He is fast, 95 change of direction, 92 throw power, all 80s at his accuracies. People like to say he's a running back that can throw. No, he is a quarterback that can run. He is very special. I mean, high 90s at all of those other throw under pressure, throw on the run, and break sack. Then you have J.K. Dobbins, who is very good. 91 speed, 91 acceleration. He's got okay trucking. I would like that trucking to be a little higher, but he can kind of do a little bit of everything. He's going to be a good role player. And then we have Sammy Watkins, number 30 on the list. He's not the highest, but hey, he made the list. That's all that matters. Sammy Watkins was traded up 4 years ago by the Bills, and he had high hopes that he was going to be the next Julio Jones. That didn't pan out, but he's still a really good receiver. He can do just about everything. He's above 80s at all the receiving attributes. He's 91 speed. He's going to be able to do a lot for you in the receiving game. Marquise Hollywood Brown. I loved watching him with the Sooners. I've been a fan of his for even before he joined the Sooners. And he is really good in Madden. 97 speed, 94 acceleration, 96 agility. He's a speed demon. And this is a guy that, especially in franchise, you could really develop. But honestly, you can use him right now. 85 deep route running. So when you put him on that seam read, that inside streak read, and you're putting him down the field, he's going to run that post, or he's going to run that fade. He's going to be good no matter what. Number 4, the Cleveland Browns. So again, another team that checks all 4 boxes, this time at a higher rank in all of those 4 positions. So this is going to be a really good team this year in Madden. And that all begins with their quarterback, Baker Mayfield. I remember when Baker first walked on at Texas Tech as a freshman quarterback without even a scholarship, and he won that job, and he's just been playing with a chip on his shoulder ever since. When he went to Oklahoma, now with the Browns, he's great, and he's great in the run and shoot. 95 throw power, 86 deep accuracy. He is very, very good. Nick Chubb, who was 92 speed, 91 acceleration. For those guys that feel like, hey, I need speed at my super back position, even though you don't. But let's say you feel like you need it. This guy has that speed plus 98 break tackle, plus 91 truck, plus 69 pass block, 85 strength. At 5'11", 227, kind of that middle range for superbacks as far as size, but he can kind of do it all and still has the athleticism that the bigger guys maybe don't have. Then you have Odell, the wide receiver number 4. He's still rated high. You know, a lot of people think, well, maybe he's fallen out since he went to Cleveland. Well, he's still doing really good in Madden. The mid-90s at all those physical ratings, including a 96 jump. He's still got a 99 spec catch. He can still make the fall backwards one-handed catches. And he's got high 80s at everything else. And then Anthony Schwartz, the rookie, 20 years old, out of Auburn. I know a guy who is a big Auburn fan, and I've heard nothing from him for months, except Anthony Schwartz is amazing. He's a speed demon. They call him Flash. And yeah, I see why. 97 speed, 94 acceleration. He's not the quickest guy, not the most fluid guy, agility and change of direction. Jumping isn't quite there. That's fine. He's a project, but he's a guy that, especially for franchise, would be great. Dolphins, number 3. Now, they don't have a quarterback on this list. How are they rated 3 overall? What is this? Well, they got 3 great slot backs. 3 of them, and the average rank is 10. The positional grade is 112. It's so good because you're going to have to put one of those guys at your wide receiver position. I'd recommend Jakeem Grant because I like to have my best 2 guys in the slot when I'm in this situation. And the third guy I would put over at Z, and then Preston Williams or Devontae Parker at X. So first one is Jaylen Waddle, rookie, 97 speed, 95 acceleration. Slot back number 2 on my list. I mean, he just is very fluid, very fast. He's got really good hands, 80 deep. I mean, the guy can do just about everything. He is very talented, and he's definitely someone that you want to get the ball to early and often. But then, this is a team that made a trade this offseason, and they picked up Will Fuller the 5th. So there, you also have another guy that's very fast, a good deep threat. In fact, you might want to put him on the outside because of the fluidity issue, because he is only an 87 agility and 84 change of direction. But I think you still want him in the slot just as your second slot, because he does have such elite hands, that 90 catch, 83 catch in traffic, 89 deep route running. He's going to be a really good weapon down the field for you. And then Jakeem Grant, who is still a very, very good slot back. He's ranked 19th, but that's just because of his age. He's 28. He played with Patrick Mahomes back in college at Texas Tech under Cliff Kingsbury. He's a lot better than some of these other guys, but it's just because he doesn't quite have that elite level of speed and acceleration, and he doesn't have the elite receiving skills. But he's still a really good slot back that, like I said, I would either play him at Z or at slot 2, depending on what you want to do. Number 2, the Arizona Cardinals. This team can really cook. Now, the guy that didn't make the list on this team was Christian Kirk, who just didn't have the release to be a wideout. Didn't have the release to be a wide receiver in my rankings, but otherwise he's really solid. So I would throw him at Z and DeAndre Hopkins at X, and the 2 slot backs in the slots. Number 8, Kyler Murray, 91 speed, 94 acceleration. The guy is like Barry Sanders in the backfield, except he's a quarterback. He's got 90 throw power. It'd be nice if that was a little bit higher, but it's doable. And then he's 80s at all of his accuracies. He's got 80s at all the other stuff, 89 break sack. He's only 24 years old. He's great for franchise, and they gave him Gunslinger this year. He is a total beast. You got DeAndre Hopkins, who's wide receiver number 2 outside. He's only 90s for the speed and acceleration, but 99 jump, 99 catch, 99 catch in traffic, 99 spec catch, 98 release, 92 deep route running. He is woo. And then we have Rondale Moore, slot back number 12, 94 speed. He's a rookie. He's really small, which is perfect for your slot backs. 82 catch to start out, 77 catch in traffic. Very solid. 91 change of direction, 92 agility. 87 jump for a 5'7" wideout is pretty good. And then there is Andy Isabella, number 13, 95 speed, 93 acceleration, 81 catch, 78 catch in traffic, which is a joke. Anyone that has followed him in the NFL, he has issues with body catching. He's not necessarily the best hands in the NFL, but for whatever reason, Madden loves him, and they give him really good hands in the game, which make him a very fun player to use in Madden, especially in the slot. That leads us to the number 1 overall team. Number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, they have the number 1 quarterback, and they have the top 2 of the top slot backs. You can tell they're 2 of the top because the average rank of their position is 3. And we know that one of them is number 1, so you can deduce that the other one is number 5. They are one of the best teams to use for this offense. It doesn't matter who you have out wide, doesn't matter who you have in the super back, doesn't matter who you have at halfback so much, because you have the other positions with such elite talent. And by that, I do in fact mean quarterback number 1, Patrick Mahomes. He's got a 97 throw power. He's got high 90s at all of his accuracies. He can throw under pressure on the run. He can break sacks. He's athletic. He can do it all. Number 1, the number 1 overall slot back, Tyreek Hill, 99 speed, 99 acceleration, 98 agility, 99 change of direction, 90s for everything else, including a 97 deep route running. It's just not fair. He is the ideal prototype slot back. He's the guy you definitely want in that position. And then slot back number 5, Mecole Hardman. 97 speed, 95 acceleration. He is fast and he can do it all. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, comment down below.